Na 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 na. I just made that theme song. Don't ask me to repeat it because I don't know what I just did. Welcome to
Happy Flex Friday.
You keep moving further that way. What do I stink?
Grabbing my.
Do I stink?
No.
Q&A with E&S. Welcome.
All right.
So today's the day where we go live on our page and we answer questions that you've asked. If you're here, say hi in the comments. Okay, so we're going to get straight to it and we're not asking anything. So you bring the Q's, we give the A's.
Yay. What are the cues today?
Oh, let me find it in one of my 1,000 tabs here. Question number 1 here. Sarit.
Mm-hmm.
Read it.
Okay.
Who is this?
Marianne Cruz. I am trying to lose fat. What can I do to maximize fat loss? Wow. So this is a very broad question. And, like the first thing is that you can do a lot of things. What is the first thing that you need to do? That will depend on you. What is one thing that you know that will help you to lose fat, that you feel confident following through with for at least 30 days?
I think about this maximize fat loss. And I wonder what you mean by that. Are we talking about maximize from an overall number of pounds on the scale lost? Are we talking about maximize in the speed that you lose weight? Are we talking about maximize in terms of I just want to get somewhere because I've been stuck? The first thing that comes to my mind based on most of the interactions that I've had or things that I've seen with people wanting to lose fat is the speed at which the fat is lost. So I think when I think maximize my fat loss, or it could also mean to lose the most amount that I possibly can, right? To maximize. So I wonder if you are trying to lose weight fast or you're just feeling stuck. Sorry.
Yeah, so,
Hold on. I have a thought, but you keep like moving away from the screen. So, stay put.
Okay.
Okay, so the first thing is, like Sarit said, is that it's going to depend for you. But the reason why I wonder all those different scenarios is because the way in which you're thinking about maximizing fat loss is going to determine whether or not you'll succeed, period. Just first of all. Because if you're thinking about how fast can I lose it, you're on the wrong target and you're going to stay stuck. If you are you feel like you're doing everything right, but you're not sure what could be going wrong, that's very different. The first thing I will say is no matter what, if you are trying to lose fat, first figure out why. What is the motive? What's the purpose of it? Because if you're in the wrong frame of mind, or if you're just thinking I need to lose weight fast because I want to feel better, you don't have enough to hold on to when you feel like making excuses. There's nothing substantial to grab onto and keep you moving when the world wants to fight back at you. So to maximize fat loss, most people will give you tricks and tips and, oh my gosh, drink apple cider vinegar in the morning and do 1,000 jumping jacks and sit-ups and like all these tactic like action things. But what really needs to happen first is like, what's happening up here? It's my initial thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so for anybody who wants to maximize fat loss, whatever that means for you, I would say the one thing that you have to do is you have to appreciate the fact that it's a process. Okay? Write this down if you need to. Appreciate the fact that it's a process. Because here's the reality. There's no one thing. And considering the fact that it's a process, what we have to understand is that it requires habits, it's going to take effort, and it's going to take time. And that is really like one of the big proponents where the weight loss industry fails you in general, is that it goes by flashy objects like on Amazon delivery, as if like you can just order this thing in the next 9 minutes and you will get shipped like your body of your dreams. No, dude, like if you want to do it the right way,
and we can send it overnight.
It's gonna take time, and it's going to be a process. So considering that, if you want to sustainably change your body, okay, nobody wants to lose weight to gain it all back. Can we all agree on that? Both Erin and I, before we figured it out, we used to go up and down and up and down and up and down. I think that intuitively, like, losing weight is not a big thing for a lot of us. It's how do we lose weight, keep it off, and continue losing weight?
How do we lose weight with confidence that it's not going to come back?
Yes, exactly. And like if you want to do that, what you should seek is sustainable. It's a sustainable body transformation, whatever that means to you, whether it be like melting fat, like toning up, or maybe it's getting jacked. Either way, it's a process. Okay, so now considering that, okay, going back to the first thing that I said, like, what is one habit, okay, that you can commit to after you've accepted the fact that it's a process? What is one habit that you can commit to sticking with for 30 days? This is where most people are going to fail, because they're going to be like, oh, just one thing for 30 days, that's too long and that's way too easy. I'm trying to set you up for success.
Hold on, or you'll be like, okay, one thing for 30 days, I'm not going to eat any carbs. Or you set like an unrealistic thing. So one of the things that Sarit said was something you can do for 30 days. Like legitimate, with full confidence that you can do that thing for 30 days, no matter what thing may get in your way, no matter what excuse you may want to make. For 30 days, what's one thing that you can do? Most people are like, no, it's not going to be enough. It's got to be harder than this. But if everything that you've tried up until this point hasn't worked, I would suggest that you're open-minded to something that might sound like it's too easy, knowing that probably 90% of the people watching this have already been in our community for a long time, have taken this approach, and have had success with it.
Yeah.
Many times.
So if you're like, okay, well, talk to me. Like, what are some habits that can be involved? Okay, so let's look at like, broad topics, and in it there is like subcategories. You're gonna need to pick one, okay? Because by the end of the day, it's whichever one you have the most confidence to follow through with.
Not 4, not 2.
Like full confidence. Like I'm at a 12 out of 10 with my level of confidence. So, big categories are, nutrition. Okay. 3 examples. Maybe it's eating 1 vegetable with every meal. Okay. Maybe it's eating a protein with every meal. Maybe it's having, 1 less packet of sugar in your coffee every day. Maybe. So, nutrition category. The other category can be exercise. Maybe it's, okay, I'm going to commit to doing a 10-minute walk every single day. Okay. That's one. Or, maybe 30-minute walk. Maybe it's, one of our programs. However, I'll tell you with being fully transparent, if you're doing one of our training programs and you haven't worked out for a while, you may want to probably incorporate like some walking or something in between, because you will get sore. So
You gotta keep the juices flowing.
yeah. Or like maybe if your thing is that you emotionally eat, and maybe you emotionally, because let's say you're in a compromised relationship, and let's say your spouse is just talking down on you, and every time you hear that, you just end up going for the cupboard and you grab a box of cereal. Maybe it's, okay, like what is one thing I can do to, feel more positive even though I'm feeling down? Maybe it's, like watching a motivational video like every evening at 5 p.m. Or maybe it's listening to ENS on YouTube, just like laughing at the one thing that we hear a lot is that you guys like when we, what's the word, not
Banter.
Batter.
Hopefully not.
Like maybe it's listening to us just talk and banter, or maybe it's making a post every day on this Facebook page. I don't know. Okay, so like the habits are endless. Okay, it's just like, what can you think of that you can follow through with great confidence for 30 days, and we're not manipulating anything else other than that? Okay, and this is why, remember, if you want to maximize, the way that I think about it is get the most out of weight loss, it's not going to happen overnight. Okay?
Yeah, it's never a 30-day thing or a 14-day thing or a 8-week thing. It's forever.
Yeah.
And if you don't intend on doing it forever, why start?
Yeah.
And that, of course, there's like exceptions to that, but we're talking about specifically with getting in great shape, accelerating your fat loss, things like that. If you're going to use a method that you don't plan to do for the rest of your life, or doesn't sound realistic for you to do for the rest of your life, that's not your starting point.
Mm-hmm.
Dead end every time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So hopefully that answers your question.
That was a great
Marianne.
question. Best of luck. We believe in you.
And now we have Edith. By the way, Miss Coach Super Danny Yala La Prea, can you drop the link for where they ask their questions? Because if you guys have any, or you think in any right now, there's a form. Ask your questions there. This is where we are getting these from. Also, if you have questions live, you can put them in the chat. Can't guarantee that we'll get to them, but we'll have them in the case that we can. So Edith is asking, I have a bad back and knees. Some things I can do, period. Some things I can do, but burpees isn't one of them. Can I substitute?
Okay,
That's what they all say, Edith, when it comes to burpees. I'm just kidding.
Let's over deliver on this question. So the first thing I would like to talk about.
Can you stay in the camera?
Yes, I'm here. So
I get really anal.
the first thing that I would like to talk about is, of course, sometimes we develop injuries because, let's say, of an accident, something like that. If that, was an impact-related injury, then that's just an unfortunate, event. In life, we can't always control every single situation. However, knee injuries and back injuries are very, very common. So, especially in modern society, and in a second I will share with you why, just want to kind of educate a little bit on, what can you do to relieve yourself of that, and then we will talk about the modification. So, Actually, let's go with the modification first. It's going to be real quick. The modification is very simple. It's called the up-downs. And as a matter of fact, if you go to our YouTube, you can just look up up-downs, or just go on YouTube and look up up-downs, Erin and Sarit. So it's basically like a version of a burpee without going all the way down to the floor. If you feel like even the up-down is too much, then what you can do is you can do just plank shoulder taps. Start with the floor. If you feel like that's too much, maybe on your low back, depending on what your core strength looks like, then you can do it onto a bench or a chair or something like that. Okay, so just something to think about. Hope that helps. Okay, now knees and back. Normally when somebody says that they have a bad back, that's low back. Low back pain or low back injury is mainly caused from having a weak core, tight hips, and weak glutes, which are due to the fact that in today's modern society, we are very sedentary in general. And we sit all day. So we're very sedentary for one, which means that we're not using the muscles that, God has given us, or the muscles that, we've had throughout generations, for millions of years. And we are also sitting all day. Now, what does sitting do? Sitting makes your glutes inactive, right? Because you're in a resting butt position, right? Like, think about it as you're watching us sitting right now, and unless you're talking, just think about your butt. You're like, okay, my butt's relaxed.
Okay, so I want to explain this in a way that I would explain it to my clients when I was doing personal training, because I think it makes the most sense. This is how it was explained to me too, and I'll never forget it because the analogy is so great. So if you have two pieces of what's the sticky stuff called?
Cards?
No, it's Velcro. Velcro. If you have two strips of Velcro, and imagine this is one strip and this is another strip, okay? And I were to stick the Velcro strips on one another, okay? And I would grab this end and I would grab this end, and you try to pull them apart. It's gonna be really difficult to pull those two pieces of Velcro apart because of how much is stuck together, right? So you can consider that will be the optimal length of a muscle in its perfect anatomical structure, okay, where it will perform the best, okay? If you were to take these pieces of Velcro and you were to overlap them like this, and then you were to pull on this side and this side, that's going to be easier for you to pull. This weaker right here because it's not at its optimal strength, right? Same thing as if you were to go this way and you were to pull on this end and pull on this. I feel like I'm doing the chicken dance. Na 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 na. Everybody! Na 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 na. How does it go first? Is it the butt first?
I don't think so.
Na 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 na.
Na 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 na. I think so.
All right. So. Anyways, they're not at their optimal length. So what happens is, let me see if I can give you a demonstration. Okay. Can you see this? Oh, can you see Boogie? Boogie.
Wow, Boogie. Oh, Boogie. Can you show them broccoli?
Okay. So here's the deal. When I'm sitting, first of all, we don't sit like this. We sit like this. How strong do I look? Right? So, first of all, when you're sitting, even if you're sitting upright, which I'm guilty of slouching sometimes, okay? Your butt is in this stretched out position because anatomically, this is the ideal anatomic position. So anatomically, this is the length of my butt, right? Well, when I sit, it lengthens. Okay, so if I'm constantly in that position, and then it's the opposite with your hips. If my hips, if the muscles and the structure in here is supposed to be this length, but I sit, I'm shortening it, right? Shortening, lengthening, weak and weak.
Yeah.
So if you're constantly in that position, and your butt is one of the things that is part of your core,
boogie.
then you're, and it's never active because you're constantly sitting, and then it's in a lengthened position. It's weaker than what is ideal, right? So if you don't know how to use your butt, then you're going to end up with back issues. And if your hips are tight, then you have your psoas is the muscle that connects to the front of your, it connects like to the front of your femur here, and it goes through your spine and it connects back here. So what happens is when you sit and that gets short, it pulls, and then you have this like other compensation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hopefully that visual makes sense.
Normally when you're, so what happens is that, you know, your glutes get weakened, you know, your hips get weakened, and of course both of them also get tighter. And normally when this happens, your core gets weaker too. So, you know, the first thing that, you know, I think about when somebody is like, I have low back pain, is, okay, your glutes are tight, your hips are tight, your glutes are inactive, and your core is weak. Okay, so also, if you'd like to work on that, what you should look at is the I'm pretty sure we have YouTube videos, like a YouTube video for exercises for when you have low back pain. Okay. And I think it incorporates 3 exercises. So yeah, just check out our YouTube. By the way, if you're not yet subscribed to our YouTube, make sure you do so, because there's lots of fire information there. Okay, and then knees. So
can I say? Yeah.
No surprise that, you know, like normally, so your joints, right, are a part of what we call the kinetic chain. Our body is, you know, like comprised of what we call a kinetic chain. It's a chain that allows movement in the body. And in the kinetic chain, you know, in our spine, we have 3 parts. We have our cervical spine, thoracic spine. We have our lumbar spine. Lumbar spine is our low back. And then we have our shoulders. We've got our
Danny
elbows.
is the queen.
We've got our wrists. We've got our hips, knees, and ankles. Okay, that's the kinetic chain. So normally when something goes off in the kinetic chain, aka your hip and lumbar spine,
not to be confused with connect.
What's going to happen over time is that it's going to start creeping into other joints in your body. So right now it's starting to creep down your knees. Normally when you have knee pain, it's due to the fact that your glutes are weakened, and then your movement is being compensated. When your glutes are weakened, what happens is that your knees cave in the movement. Okay, so something to consider when you're doing any of, I'm not sure which workout program are you doing, maybe the Rise Above, maybe the Burn Zone, you know, make it a point to have your knees track your toes, even if that means that you're sacrificing intensity for the sake of quality. That is the most important thing to know.
Should we get some movement model action in here?
I want to see what you guys are laughing about. I see, like, between...
Okay, so I started laughing because they're saying a lot of funny things. For one, I'll fill you in real quick. Stacy K is committing to doing the chicken dance every day for 30 days. Danny is wondering if psoas means sort of ass. Psoas.
Valid.
And also then...
Does psoas mean swas?
So then I had this... And then you started talking about glutes. And you said something about your glutes, and then I was thinking about our glucagon glucose conversation. And I was like, your glucose. And I was like, what if we just did a whole episode with literally nothing made any sense? Anyways, yeah, hey, I want to demonstrate squat real quick, because even though there is another video for that somewhere on our YouTube, either Melissa Morgenthaler or Danny knows which one it is. But, you know, it's really important because this is so quick. it is like squats are one of the things that will wreck you too. Like when you're doing a squat, can you move the thing a little bit?
Yeah, Boogie's in there too.
I have my really fancy socks on too, by the way. When you're doing a squat, that like each person's gonna have like a little bit different foot stance, wider, narrower, whatever. But when you're doing a squat, to make sure that your knees are just going in whatever direction, you're not like this. That hurts me.
Oh, that hurts me.
That hurts me just watching that. Okay, so to make sure that, like, if you imagine you have a grape underneath the arch of your foot right here, and you've got all your toes on the ground, and you're grabbing the ground, but you can't smash the grape, right? So if you can manage that and think about that the full time that you're squatting, you'll be in a good position. Even if, like Sarit said, you need to sacrifice like intensity to do it right, or if you're going
or even range of motion at the beginning.
Yeah. So let's say you get to like here, and then your knees start going in. Don't go any further down.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just, yeah, a little bit of some. Who's wearing an ENS Army shirt today, by the way?
I am. Ta-da!
Okay, so hopefully that helps.
Okay.
More?
There was something else that I wanted to add. Actually.
Mas? Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
Danny's
Okay, so look.
crushing it.
If you're feeling joint pain, you guys already know how we feel about the joint 4. Like, you need to get on the joint 4 supplement.
Oh, yes, 100%.
You can feel free to email support@erinandsarit.com. And
We'll hook you
one
up
of
with a
the
discount
members
code.
of our team can be sure to direct you, so that, you know, you'll definitely want to get your hands on it. That shit is no joke, and it's not going to fix the issue, but it's going to help you feel a lot less pain in the process. So just something to think about.
And it will help with the speed of the degeneration if you have something else going on, like an arthritis or something like that. Word. Man, our team is so helpful. This is amazing.
Thank you, guys.
Danny is smashing it. Okay. Next question.
Danny's waiting for her crown, just so you know.
Now, I'm going to give her one. I'm going to give you a crown, Danny. I'm going to give you a crown. It's going to look like this.
Audrey Bronkema in the house.
Okay, so how does a person believe or act as if, okay, so that if you're newer here, act as if is something that we say to help
in a lot
you.
of our programs, yeah.
Yeah, it's something that we say. So if you hear like us say act as if, there's a past you, there's a present you, and there's a future you. And you, like, in our minds, we want to act as if we are that person that we want to be, or act as if we've achieved the goal that we want to achieve. Like, how would that person act? What would that person do? So we can begin to behave like that. Okay, anyways. So how does a person believe or act as if they are worthy and deserving, etc., without being arrogant?
This is a really good question. I like it.
Yeah.
Do you want to go first?
Yeah. So there's a difference between arrogance and confidence. And I think that's where people get tripped up. And to be honest, I think it's all in your mind. Like, I think that it's the way that you intend on within your actions. It's the intention that lives within your actions that determines whether it's arrogance or confidence. Because what you think will become what you do. Mm-hmm. Right? So if you're thinking you're being arrogant, why? Like, I want to look up the definitions of these. So you can give your 2 cents.
So okay, you know, look, if you're being arrogant, that is a sign that you're resisting acting as if. And there is only way to overcome resistance, and it's called persistence. So just from the sounds of your questions, you're overthinking it. Like, my question to you is, what, a worthy version of you does? List that down. Do not, what's the word? Do not judge. Just when you're like, okay, what does a worthy version of me do on a daily basis? Like, don't overthink it. Like, what does that person do? Take your feelings outside of the equation. Okay? You might have a list of one thing, you might have a list of two things, you might have a list of 10 things. Okay? Start with one and do that thing every day. Only persistence beats resistance. Like, a person who's feeling unworthy doesn't feel that they're the most worthy overnight. It's a process.
Okay. There's 3 things that I wanted to look up. I wanted to look up arrogance, because that's what you mentioned. I want to look up worthiness, because that's what you mentioned. But I also want to look up confidence, because I think that it has something to do with the way in which you're acting, and do you have confidence in that? So, let's first, to be arrogant is an offensive display of superiority, of self-importance. The word offensive is tricky right now, because to be offended really has nothing to do with the person that did the thing. Mm-hmm. It's the person who's offended. That's your own issue if you're offended by something, because you can't control anybody else. So but it is an offensive display, meaning the majority of people would probably be offended by your display of thinking that you are superior in your importance, right? And then I looked up worthy, which is having an adequate or great merit, character, or value, of commendable excellence or merit, right? So who is anybody else to say you're excellent or you're not excellent? Worthiness lives within. It has nothing to do with anybody else. So, if we're talking about an overall perspective of the being, and then having confidence in your worthiness, having confidence is a full trust or belief in oneself or your powers and your abilities. So if you're feeling a lack of worthiness, my thought process would be that you do not feel that your powers, your abilities are worth something. What is that something? I don't know. That's up to you. I don't know if you guys are tracking with me or if this is making any sense at all. But I think it literally all starts inside yourself. It's am I coming from a place of I'm better than everybody? Or am I working on being confident that I am skilled enough and able enough, and I have enough power within me to achieve whatever the thing is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
I want to add more to that. Arrogance is it's a manifestation of an overcompensation of ignorance. When somebody
Wait, hold on, say that again. An overcompensation of ignorance?
Yes.
Okay.
And, the issue with arrogance is that it's a display of what we call a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset will always be stuck. So there's 2 kinds of mindsets: fixed mindset and growth mindset. Fixed mindset is, I know best, I do best, I'm never going to, take advice from somebody who's qualified because I know it all, and I'm just the greatest and I'm untouchable. Okay. Versus growth mindset is, I'm open-minded. However, for anybody who's open-minded, I want to caution you, do not be open-minded to take everybody's advice. That's a very big problem that we're going through in society right now. We have a lot of unqualified people giving advice. Just because somebody has a certification doesn't mean that they're qualified to give advice. And I think, for anybody who's listening, these teachings are powerful because, I say that with a lot of confidence, not arrogance. Confidence due to a track record that, we help people to get results.
You said something I want to ask about.
What?
Because I'm not sure I agree.
What?
So I want to challenge it.
Okay,
but I want
let's
to
go.
think through it together.
Okay.
So if you said that arrogance is a fixed mindset, right? If you're arrogant, you have a fixed mindset. However, I will admit, I am not perfect, and there are some times where I want to toot my own horn, and sometimes it comes out in a way where after I say something, I'm like, oh, that was really arrogant. But I know, I'm very aware, and I'm like, that doesn't feel good inside me, right? But the way that you say something I don't believe I have a fixed mindset, right? So,
Definitely.
but I have the human capability of being arrogant, right?
So look, I don't think you're arrogant. I know what it is.
What?
You're certain.
But it can be arrogant.
When you're certain about something, you don't change your mind easily. Arrogant as a trait, an arrogant person is not open-minded.
Okay, but arrogance is an offensive display of, right? Not necessarily a characteristic, but it's an event.
Okay. Well, most of the time, are you arrogant?
No.
Then it's not a character trait of yours. Certainty is though.
You guys like this discussion? This is like a real life discussion.
So, I don't think that you're arrogant.
I wouldn't say that I'm arrogant, but I would say there are moments where my head will get big in something, or I'll do something really good and I'll be like, I'm the shit. Yeah, go me. But then I'm like, is that part of that is excitement because I've achieved something. Part of that is excitement, right? And a self-celebratory moment, but I wonder just myself because I'm I don't want to be arrogant. So is that arrogant? I don't know.
So I know that this is something that you've been working on, as part of your character traits. For one, you're not arrogant. For two, that based on Erin's character traits, she likes to be right, and when she's not right, she gets meh about
Who else
it.
likes to be right though? Does anybody wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, I hope I'm wrong today? No.
No, here's the deal. You've worked on yourself in a way where you're you don't get in your basement when at this point you find out that you're not right.
No, I get my feelings hurt for a half a second, and I'm like, okay, I'm over it.
Anyways, we're totally getting on a tangent here. Point being is, can I get back to the question real quick? Can I just see it?
Yeah. Okay. So it's how do you believe or act as if you're worthy of something without being arrogant?
Repetition. Okay? Repetition of what is one thing that will make you believe more in you? What is one thing that you have to do? I would say that exercise is a big deal, for a lot of people. Okay, I've accomplished something hard. Great. Repeat it. However, just because you're fitter than someone doesn't mean that your shit don't stink. Doesn't mean that you're a better person. So, this is really good because let's say you start at a point where you're feeling extremely unworthy, and then you develop habits that make you feel more confident. Elated confidence unmanaged or immature elated confidence. And I share that from my own experience because, after when I was 22, I kind of figured out, I feel like I cracked the code and my body shifted. And I got to a point where I was cocky and arrogant about it. I was like, my shit don't stink because now I got abs. However, over time I've evolved, so I think and this is why, when we teach what we teach, we don't just teach on the superficial level. We teach beyond that because you can have, the world's greatest abs. However, if you don't treat people well, if you're not becoming a better person beyond that, then are you actually making the most out of life? Because people wouldn't even want to be around you. People wouldn't even want to take your advice because they're like, she acts like her shit don't stink, So it's one thing to lead with confidence, and it's another thing to lead with arrogance. And I think arrogance is just an immature form of confidence. And it can bite a lot of people in the ass because, if that puts you in a fixed mindset, ooh, I got abs, I don't need to listen to what anybody else says. Okay, cool. Now, either way, it doesn't make you a better or a worse person. It's just what kind of life are you looking to live? So anyways, if you want to feel more worthy, what I would recommend is make it a habit to do at least one thing every day. And I would recommend that you do it at the start of your day, because when you start your day on a strong note, it's a lot easier to keep your day on a strong note versus do it at the end of the day. Do one thing a day that makes you uncomfortable. Do one thing a day that challenges you. Do one thing a day that will make you feel more certain about you. It could be a workout. It could be, not snoozing the alarm. It could be, saying an affirmation 10 times. Normally it's a mix of things, right? However, it's a matter of repetition. You don't go one day feeling, so low and unworthy to extremely elated. There's so much, there's so many layers and, shades of colors that go into it. However, it's just a matter of what do you feel confident following through with right now? So, hope that helps. Such a great question.
Yeah, and okay, so I have to go a tiny bit further because I think that arrogance doesn't really have much to do with feeling worthy. How do I feel worthy of, or act as if I'm worthy of something? I don't think really has anything to do with, will I look arrogant? Because feeling worthy is very much an inside job. So if you're acting as if, then yes, doing the thing, right? Taking that advice. But I don't know how, if you're working on becoming a better version of yourself, that could ever be displayed or portrayed as arrogance. Because somebody working on being a better version of themselves, it's impossible that is an arrogant person. Because that person's not trying to be better. They're trying to think that they're better, and they're overcompensating. So yeah, that was a great question.
Great question.
That was a great question. And Amy put it very simply. She's like, arrogance is ugly and confidence is beautiful. Simple.
Simple.
Also, we're learning some new slang from Kate. She keeps saying facts, no printer.
I know, Kate. I'm going to vox you later about
listen,
this.
I had to look it up on Urban Dictionary, okay? Facts, no printer, right here. For those of you who were born before 2000, facts, no printer. I don't know how this makes any sense at all, but a more exclaimed and strong form of facts. Okay, used when pointing out something so true, it is neither true nor faux.
It's
faux,
okay.
Facts, faux. Is it supposed
facts
to be?
No printer. The other day we learned another new word. It's called snatched.
I wasn't in on that comment, but I think snatched, like, bang.
Yeah, that's what we all thought. Turns out that, you know, you learn something new every day.
I want to read through your guys' comments real quick to see if there's any, like,
Facts no printer.
Put out the good vibe, respect
You
yourself
should do
enough
a
to
TikTok
overlook the
about
negative.
it. Facts no printer.
Okay, we'll see. I've been really on my TikTok game lately. Put out the good vibe, but respect yourself enough to overlook the negativity and want only the best for you and others around you. You choose to be positive. I love that. It's so good. Oh, whoa. Yesified? Is that another one? Like, is that another thing?
I think so, probably.
Daisy, maybe you should teach that to the teenagers because apparently they're behind the times too. Like having to explain a fax machine. You guys remember when they had this big ass Saved by the Bell gray?
Oh, the first
cell phone.
Do you guys remember Snake?
Man, I remember using that.
If you come from the Snake era,
I got my
those
phone taken away.
Nokia phones.
I used what are those one? Rotary.
Oh yeah.
When you got to do the 9.
And then it
Or
goes
the 0 or whatever it is. Anyways, hopefully this was really fun for you guys. Let's see what our last one is. We'll go for one more. Teresa. You want to take this one?
Okay. I have a lot of titanium cages in my neck, 3 to 7 spine, L2 through to the tailbone. I think IWT. I want to get fit and lose the last of my weight. Is it possible with my conditions? Yes, it is.
It depends on what you think of as fit, though. Let's define that real quick, because that can mean fit for what.
Yeah.
But if you're saying like, can I be lean and toned and strong and capable for daily functions and things like that? Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So all the way from the cervical spine to her lumbar.
So
got it.
What, 3 to 5? C3, 5.
All the way to the lumbar. Okay, so here's the deal.
Wow.
So the first thing,
almost her entire spine.
Speaking about fitness, right? So the first thing, just considering the fact that, you know, you have titanium cages, we want to like take away any impact. Okay, so
running, jumping,
you know, anything like that is definitely not going to serve you. Now, depending to what degree of, you know, exercise you can do, because I'm sure there's also other ailments that come with that. Like, you know, I'm thinking about like rowing, for example. Can you row? That is a low impact activity. Or swimming, for example. However, I'm not sure, you know, if there's a certain angle that your neck can reach or not reach. So, you know, we'll need more information with regards to that. The other thing is, okay, like I'm thinking, what are exercises where, you know, a lot of compound movements will definitely not serve you. However, isolated movements that involve your knee joint and your elbow joint could help you with that. Anything that involves the spine, we definitely want to limit any impact. So like, you know, exercises, strengthening exercises that I have full confidence that you can do are for the core are bird dogs, dead bugs, you know, like as far as, you know, your upper body goes, definitely like bicep curls, lateral raises, you know, like front raises, and then, you know, like with the knees, leg extension, you know, probably hip extension, you know, maybe leg curl, that kind of thing. just because you're more limited doesn't mean it's impossible. So based on all of these things that you've heard and on your specific condition, other than the obvious, what can you fit in? Okay. And then, you also added the concept of weight loss. You guys, a big part of weight loss that we all have to appreciate is the fact that like exercise has a lot to do with helping you to, increase your lung capacity, your work capacity. And yes, it when you're incorporating the other habits like the nutrition habits and regeneration habits really well, then the exercise is like the cherry on the top. However, exercise doesn't have a lot to do with weight loss, especially when you have those last few pounds. When it comes to those last few pounds, I would definitely want to hone in on your nutrition. See, how consistent are you with your nutrition? Do you snack? If so, what does your snacking look like? Do you drink alcohol? If so, what does that look like? What does your sleep look like? What do your stress levels look like? How much water do you drink? That sort of thing. And, really take it from there. So considering all that you've heard, I would recommend, take the main point from exercises based on your, specific situation. And then, if there was one habit from everything that we talked about that you have a high confidence that you can follow through with, can you start there and can you stick with it? Cool?
Hopefully that was helpful. I didn't hear any of that because I was lost in the Nokia phones and Snatched
and the community conversation. Speaking about goals and speaking about community, many of you guys already know this. In the case that you won't, we want to just remind you that in 2.5 weeks we're going to be starting one of our very well-known challenges, the 5-day transformation kickstart challenge.
5-day transformation kickstart challenge.
You guys, wherever you are in the process, it will help you to elevate your goals. So if you're just getting started, this is why it's called a Kickstarter. It's going to be a really great way to kickstart your goals. If you are, in it and you've been in it for a while, this is going to be a great way to elevate your goals. Do know it doesn't matter, let's say if you're injured, if you have any specific condition, this is not a workout challenge.
If you're vegan, if you're vegetarian, that doesn't matter.
Yeah, we do not, what's the word? It's not sacrifice, it's not jeopardize, but it kind of sounds like both of them. We do not discriminate. Okay?
We do not sacrifice.
Look, whatever either eating plan or workout plan you stick to, we will tell you in the challenge, do that. Of course, we will give you guys options in the case that you're like, I want to work out with Erin and Sarit or whatever. However, it is a lot more than working out. We're just going to blow your mind, educate you. The greatest thing about the TKC is that it is an experience where the community comes together. And I mean, the OGs, you guys are awesome. You just kind of take the newbies by the wing and, pour into them a lot of just support and belief. And, together, this is just another tidal wave of, all of us together, the ENS Army, making a bigger impact with regards to pursuing our mission of transforming the lives of millions through the same movement, nutrition, and lifestyle habits that have transformed ours. So we strongly encourage you to join it. It is completely free. You have nothing to lose and obviously everything to gain, especially maybe 1 or 2 badass accountability buddies, which are so important in this journey. If you
everything to gain except for badass accountability buddies, is that what you just said?
You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Especially.
Oh, I thought you said except for.
Maybe I said you guys know, sometimes I say
just in
I
case
have
she said that, now we know.
I'm like, what word is she gonna choose right now? I don't know. So that's why I have you guys to call me out when I say weird shit. Anyways, if you haven't already signed up for it, simply go to our website, erinsarit.com, and you can just register there. And if you know somebody who you know
Who knows somebody who knows
who
somebody.
will find value, who will be helped through that, just go ahead and forward them the link. Okay, like for a lot of people, this is the starting point of something that absolutely transformed their lives. If the TKC has been the starting point that has transformed your life, I would actually love it if you can drop a flex emoji in the chat box. Definitely want to recognize you for that. You guys were here to help. We hope that you found a lot of value in today's conversation. I really enjoy these Q&As. I think Q&As are like my favorite.
So fun.
So fun. Like it's
Flex emoji. There.
Jennifer Bromley, Lori Guile.
Guile.
Oh, they're
Misty,
coming. Wait.
Amy,
Hold on.
Connie,
Ashley Wise, Tawny Lamoureux, Amy Gillespie, Misty,
Oh.
Mel Herbie. The other day, we gave a shout out on our morning team meeting to Ashley Wise. I just want to share with you guys a quick success story that is so inspiring. So Coach Tay, who's been your guide, has shared this with us, that the other day was your 1 year anniversary, and you started with us in the TKC a year ago, and ever since then you've dropped 65 pounds and increased your level of confidence and absolutely transformed your life. And yes, we know that you want an ENS bumper sticker. We'll be working on that. But you guys, it's the starting point of amazing things. We believe in you guys, and we want to provide you the soil where your seedlings can grow and you can flourish.
That sounds dirty.
What?
We want to be the soil to your seedlings.
Yeah, we are. Whatever. Jennifer,
Somebody in here is 12.
Melissa, all of you guys are 12.
Let us be the soil to your seedlings.
So Ashley West, congratulations. You're on a great path, and a lot of you guys are. Very proud of you. You guys, so much love and gratitude for each and every one of you guys. We hope that you have a beautiful weekend. Happy Memorial Day weekend. We will see you guys next Friday. If you have any questions, drop them in the form. And
until next time.
Bye.